right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We're super excited to be with you guys again and start a new series with Natisal. We love our partnership with Natisal and just so excited to see it growing and keep on going. So thank you so much, Anna, for your partnership. My name is Lauren Goday. I'm a family engagement specialist from the Center for Literacy and Learning, where our mission is that we advance literacy and learning through evidence-based practices in the classroom, home, and community. And our vision is that everyone is empowered through literacy. We are a part of a hub of the Center for Literacy and Learning called the Louisiana Statewide Family Engagement Center. We are located here in the great state of Louisiana, and our goal is to maximize capacity for family members, community members, educators, and students so that we can see successful collaboration and partnerships between schools and families and communities, and to increase the well-being of all of those involved. So here's a couple of our team members. We have Sabrina Marsh. She's here with us today, the director of the Louisiana Statewide Family Engagement Center. She is on mute right now. She's getting a new patio, so that would be extremely noisy. But she is present here with us today. We have Brenda Malara, who's our bilingual family engagement specialist. She comes to us doing some of the same work that you guys do currently. And she did that for, I think, over 12 years. Lakeisha London, who is presenting with me today, who has many, many years in the school system as a teacher and as an administrator. And then myself, Lauren Goday, my background is in clinical mental health. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I've worked in school systems, hospitals, all with families, communities, and educators. So that's just a little bit about us. And we're going to go ahead and get started because we want to respect everyone's time. Please feel free to drop any comments or questions in the chat as we go along, and we will answer them. We will also have a time at the end for questions and answers. So if you prefer to save it till the end, you're more than welcome to do that as well. So today we're talking about beating burnout, strategies for awareness, prevention, and renewal. How do we understand and address burnout in interpreters and multilingual education professionals? So we've done this presentation before, more general for educators, and today we've adapted it to kind of talk about the unique challenges that interpreters and multilingual education professionals face. So objectives, participants will understand what burnout is and recognize what it causes, what causes it and its symptoms. I'm so sorry. Participants will explore the common causes of interpreter and multilingual educator burnout. Participants will learn how to identify the early warning signs of burnout in themselves and colleagues. We can create our own villages and support one another in this. And participants will gain actionable strategies for avoiding burnout, including self-care, time management, and seeking support. So beating burnout, strategies for awareness. In this section, we're going to talk about what it is, what it looks like, what causes it. And then in the next section that Lakeisha will guide us through, we'll talk about strategies to prevent burnout and also how do we maintain it after it's happening. All right. Burnout is a growing concern nationwide, and multilingual professionals face added pressures that increase their risk. And in education specifically, burnout is 4% higher than in other professional fields. So we know that burnout is already a really big problem in the education field in general. But when you add the added pressures that multilingual professionals face, it increases their risk. So, what does burnout look like in general? Burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged stress. So, that means waking up doing the same thing every day, nothing's changing, maybe nothing's improving, and we're just feeling defeated, we're feeling discouraged. It's not more situational as it is, this is something that has happened over a period of time. It's marked by fatigue, reduced motivation, detachment from work, and a decreased sense of effectiveness. In education, this is often caused by heavy workloads, limited support, and the emotional demands of supporting students and families. So the unique challenges that multilingual educators face and translators and interpreters face. So on top of all of the other fun stuff that we just talked about, you guys also have to regularly navigate cultural differences while building trust with students and families. Many of the families that you guys work with have distrust of the school systems. Maybe they don't have an idea of what the school systems look like in America, so you have to walk them, through that process because it looks different where they're from. Um, and just other cultural differences that you guys have to navigate on top of your regular jobs. Expectations to translate materials, interpret during meetings, or communicate across languages without proper resources or support. We know there's a shortage in education of educators and of interpreters. And so a lot of things are going to fall on you guys. You guys are probably carrying the job of multiple people at once. Cannot pay you guys enough for what you do and all of the wonderful work that you do. But it's a lot to have to translate the materials, interpret during the meetings, and communicate. And oftentimes in schools, there's not a lot of people who can do that. And so you're kind of the go-to. Um, Responsibilities are frequently carried out without adequate time, training, compensation, or systemic support. So we don't have the support systems around us. We might not have the training that we need, the continued education that we need is not being provided specifically for multilingual professionals and interpreters. We might not have enough time in a day. There's only so many hours in a work day, and we might not have enough time to get it all done. So, common causes of burnout for interpreters and multilingual educators. We have a lack of translated materials, which might mean that we're the person that they look to or go to translate this information, which just adds to the workload that you guys are already doing. And it also makes it harder for you guys to communicate with families when those materials are not readily available. Um, Disconnect between district expectations and the realities. In theory, a lot of things seem good, but when you put it on, when you actually go to do the work, you guys are the experts at this and know what actually works versus what policy looks like, right? And sometimes policies do not correlate with what actually works for the families that you guys are working with. And so you guys have to kind of mediate that disconnect and try to figure out a way to do your jobs um, that align with policy and what you guys are expected to do, but also meet the needs of the families that you guys are trying to meet. Insufficient professional development. We might not have development like this that is specifically targeted for multilingual educators and interpreters. And so you might get a general idea of the information, but not how it can be applicable for you and the communities that you serve. Increased workload resulting from insufficient interpreter support. So that means there might not be enough of you, right? And so you're having to do the work of multiple people at once, which is not fair and it's hard. And so you guys are doing double, triple sometimes the workload. You might be the only person in that building that speaks that language. And so you're the person that they come to for any issue or challenge that they might need navigating that specific language, which can get heavy sometimes. And also being the only person in a school that maybe speaks that language, you might feel disconnected from your colleagues and the people around you because where they might understand some of the challenges that you face, they will not understand all of the challenges that you face. And so that can be really isolating and make you feel alone. So we're going to do the root cause word cloud. So I'll ask everybody to either go to the link or scan the QR code, and I'm going to make it live. And we're going to talk about 1 to 2 causes of burnout that affect you the most. All right, so it is live, and I'm going to drop the link in the chat, and you guys should be able to start entering the causes of burnout that affect you the most, or maybe that you've seen affect your colleagues the most. All right, we got a lot here. I'm going to give you guys just a few more seconds to enter that. What a visual, right? All of the things that impact your ability to manage self-care and take care of yourself while meeting the needs of this job. I see time management, lack of support, lack of trainings, turnaround times, no understanding of my role. Yeah, that's a big one. How am I supposed to do the work if I don't understand what it is I'm supposed to be doing? Multiple sessions, repetitive work, workloads being excessive, long prep and work hours, disconnect, back-to-back meeting schedules, navigating sensitive topics. Wow, inconsistent. Yeah. So it's obvious here looking at this that many of us are facing challenges that are causing us to burn out, right? Um, and many of us are facing similar challenges, right? They might be worded differently, like high number of assignments and heavy workload, um, but the root cause is the same, right? All right, thank you guys for participating in that. I'm now going to go back to the PowerPoint. All right. Everybody can see the PowerPoint again? Okay, perfect. And now I'll come back on screen. All right, so common signs of burnout. So now we've talked about what are the root causes, what are the things that are impacting this high rate of burnout in education and even higher rate in multilingual professionals, right? We've talked about what causes it. Now, what does it look like? Because it's one thing to know what causes it, but it's another thing to be able to look at somebody or even look at yourself in the mirror and say, I might be struggling, right? And so here's what some common signs look like. Fatigue and sleep issues. This can be I'm oversleeping or maybe I'm undersleeping. Insomnia. Maybe I'm staying up all night thinking about all the things that I have to do tomorrow, or all the things I didn't get done today that now I have to get done tomorrow, right? Or maybe I'm oversleeping because it's just better to sleep than to get up and deal with the things that are going on in this world and the things that are going on in my job. Appetite and weight changes. This could look like I am going so much that I forget to eat. I don't know if anybody's ever had that happen to them. It's happened to me. I forget to eat, and then all of a sudden I'm feeling a little dizzy, and I'm like, why do I feel like this? Oh, yeah, I haven't eaten today because I've just been going so much. Um, or it could look like overeating to cope with some of the stresses and some of the hard things that we're dealing with. Forgetfulness and trouble concentrating. Sometimes when our mind is in like a million different areas at once, it's hard for us to focus on specific tasks that need to be done. And so that can look like I keep forgetting things. Maybe I look disorganized, or I just can't focus on this task in front of me because my mind is thinking about all the other millions of tasks that I have to get done today. Depression or anxiety. Depression, hopelessness. It's never going to get better. I'm never going to get out this rut. I'm never going to have the proper support. I'm just hopeless. Like there's no hope for me or hope for this situation. Anxiety, I'm constantly worrying. I can't go home and separate what's going on at work from my home life, right? I'm taking it home with me because it's impacting me that much. Frequent physical illness. A lot of times, mental health shows itself in physical ailments. So that might look like I'm constantly having migraines, I'm constantly having stomach aches. Um, I'm getting sick often. My immune system seems to be down. And so I'm getting sick all the time. Every time I blink, I'm sick. Sometimes that is a sign that something deeper is going on mentally. Increased anger. When my threshold is at zero, I have no tolerance, right? And so that might look like I am just, little things that used to not bother me are setting me off now. I'm lashing out at colleagues. I'm lashing out at home with my family. I'm lashing out in the grocery store, behind the wheel, wherever. And that's just not like me. But when my tolerance is at -2, anything that gets added to it, I'm more likely to be irritable. So, spotting burnout in bilingual educators and interpreters. So, these are some unique challenges that you guys might face um, as those working with the populations that you work with. So, challenging challenges keeping consistent routines or expectations across languages. Emotional fatigue or irritability, especially during translation or interpretation. So I used, like maybe it's like I used to love interpreting. I used to love being in these meetings, and now it's a drag. Now I am, every time another meeting gets added to my calendar, I get anxiety or I get stressed out or I get angry. Feelings of isolation, especially with few bilingual colleagues. Like I said, you might be the only one in the school. And so you feel like the people around you just don't understand what you're going through. You have nobody that you can talk to that truly understands the challenges that you are facing. Increased illness or absenteeism. So, again, physical illness is often a sign that something deeper is going on mentally. And that might look like we're just not showing up anymore. I'm calling out. I used to be the person that never called out, and now I'm calling out once a week, once every other week, and that's just not like me. So, we're going to do a little activity based on the information, all of the fun information and knowledge we just gained. Um, to spot the signs of burnout. Because not only do we want to be able to spot the signs of burnout in others, but we want to be able to spot it in ourselves. And so being able to identify what those things are will help us to navigate what we can control to try to lessen the load and take care of ourselves. So, Maria is a Spanish English interpreter at a busy elementary school. She spends her days interpreting during parent-teacher conferences, staff meetings, and student support sessions, and often stays late to translate emails, homework instructions, and notices for families. Lately, Maria has felt constantly tired and stressed. She struggles to concentrate, makes more errors than usual, and snaps at colleagues. Translating and planning materials now feel overwhelming, and she often dreads going to work. With few bilingual colleagues to lean on and little time for self-care, she feels isolated and emotionally exhausted. I'm sure there are probably a few of us in here that can relate to Maria and say, "Oh, I've been there," right? So what factors are contributing to her burnout, and what signs of burnouts can you identify? So you can either drop it in the chat. You're welcome to come off of mute and engage in discussion, either or. So I'll give you guys a few seconds to look over that. All right. We have a few in the chat. She's staying late, so maybe we're having some work-life balance challenges, maybe some boundary issues. Sometimes we don't want to say no, and so in order for it to get done, I have to stay late. She's constantly tired and stressed. She's struggling to concentrate. She's making errors. Someone said by staying late, she's not defining clear boundaries between her work and personal life. Absolutely. She's also taking on so much work that the workload is detrimental to the quality of her work. Yes, absolutely. Quality over quantity, right? She doesn't have any downtime. She has no time to recoup. She has too many duties. She's wearing too many hats. I heard a jack of all is a master of none, right? So if we try to do too many things, we cannot be 100% if we're split in all of these different areas. And so um, it's important that we say, okay, this is what I need to be a master at. This is what I'm going to put my 100% at. Otherwise, we tend to not give our best in the areas that it's needed. Staying late, little time for herself, boundary issues, excessive stress, feeling isolated takes a big toll. If I don't have anybody to debrief with or talk to and get it off my chest, and it just builds up inside of me. Someone said, is there a structure on how the work is given to her so she can prioritize? That might be a solution, right? Something that maybe she can talk to her superior about. No work-life balance. She has no support. She has no structure to her day, no clarity to where her priorities should be. Absolutely. Absolutely. Emotional exhaustion can manifest physically. Yeah. She might start calling out because she might start waking up with headaches. She might start struggling to sleep. Yes. Is Maria a bilingual staff member or is she an interpreter translator? Because adding translation or interpretation to an established role can become overwhelming. Absolutely. Sometimes, it says here that she's an interpreter, but I know the reality is that um, sometimes if you are a teacher or an educator and you speak another language and an interpreter is not available, that becomes an additional role for you, right? On top of all your other duties. Um, absolutely. These are amazing answers. Thank you guys so much for contributing. I'm not sure why my screen is moving super slow. I tried to turn it off and back on, and it's just still doing it. So I do apologize. All right. Thank you guys so much. Yes, this was an amazing discussion. Um, so now I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Miss Lakeisha London, who's going to talk about now that we know what it looks like, now that we know what it feels like and what causes it, what do we do with this information? How do we prevent it? How do we renew ourselves? So, Lakeisha, take it away, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your comments. Lauren, thank you for your expertise in giving us the background about burnout and just for full transparency for me. Um, I was a former principal for over 26 years in the city of New Orleans, and I didn't know that I was experiencing burnout until it happened. And so I was a principal before, during, and after Hurricane Katrina. And then we got through COVID and I needed a break. So I took a break and I was happy for it because it made me understand the difference between being stressed out, as people say, versus being burnt out, because it does take a toll on you. So I'm so happy to do the second part of our session. So I was an English teacher before I became a principal. So if you are auditory, visual, or kinesthetic learner, you can write it down, hear it, or underline the word that sticks out to most to you with this quote: we can't practice compassion with other people if we can't treat ourselves kindly. And I'm going to say it one more time. We can't practice compassion with other people if we can't treat ourselves kindly. What word stands out to you? And you can drop it in the chat as we move on to our next section. So, preventing interpreter burnout, professional and workload strategies. Here we go. So, invest in professional learning. Attend workshops, training, and association events to strengthen skills and connect with peers. Protect planning and prep time. Set aside time to review materials, prepare for meetings, and recharge. Collaborate with mentors or colleagues. Use resources efficiently. Keep templates, glossaries, and ready to use materials to reduce repetitive work, and then share the workload. So you're going to advocate for team support and delegate non-critical tasks when possible. When I was looking at the activity that we did, all of these things came up. I know for me, it was time management. That's something that kind of like gets me off task if I'm not, making sure that I'm on time for certain things and certain deadlines, and knowing what your triggers are is kind of like one of the things that you can do for yourself to help you with that. So, so prioritize your self-care, set boundaries on overtime, take breaks, and use reduction strategies like mindfulness. I know for me, I have to have it on the calendar or, in your phone where you can say it's time to take a break. There's a lot of apps out there that helps us with that. Seek recognition and support. Ask supervisors to acknowledge contributions and celebrate successes. I know our boss who's on the call as well gives us space to do that. Reflect and debrief, discuss challenging sessions with peers and identify coping strategies. Build a support network. Connect with other interpreters via professional communities or online forums. I know for our team, we have our group chat and it works for us because it's a safe space for us to be able to release something that may be a hard day or whatnot. And so we are always there for each other. And I like that about our team. And if something is not right, we try to fix it amongst ourselves before we take it, to the next level.
And I think that you guys are a great example of what a support
Mhm.
network looks like here at
Yes,
Natisal. I know that you guys are constantly supporting each other. When we got on the call today, everybody knew everybody by name and was so
yes,
excited to see each other. So, this is a great example of what that support network looks like.
right. So it's kind of like I'm not the only person going through this, right? I'm not the only person that's feeling whatever the challenge may be on some days, because burnout happens when it's things that happen over time and then you're trying to figure it out, but at the same time trying to do all the other things that you have to do. All right, so take a moment to look at our wonderful illustration here. So the best self-care plans include two practices from each pillar rather than just focusing on one. So I want you to look at the words here. We have emotional, physical, spiritual, environmental, and then recreational. What are the two that stands out to you the most? And drop it in the chat.
Physical and emotional. We have emotional, emotional and spiritual, physical and spiritual, physical and recreational, spiritual and recreational, physical and emotional.
And thank you for your comments because we're going to go over those and what they really mean. I know for me, I've learned just recently that it is environmental for me.
Sometimes just taking a step outside and getting some fresh air can be self-care.
Yes. I'm learning that I buy flowers once a week, and just looking at the flowers and watch them bloom as they're in my home has been giving me comfort. Thank you guys for your comments.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
All right, so physical, exercise, healthy eating, rest, emotional, mindfulness, journaling, seeking support, social, connecting with friends, families, or colleagues, professional, setting boundaries, time management, that's a big one, guys, and professional development.
In the burnout
Right.
presentations, I always remind people that no is a complete sentence.
hmm And
No.
that's hard for some people. Especially me as a mother of three, sometimes saying no, it's hard. You want to be everything for everyone, but you have to start to set those boundaries to say, nope, I need a moment. And it's okay to have a moment. It's okay.
And some of that looks like professionally looks like, I have PTO, so I'm going to use it. We don't get an award for not taking our paid time off, right? There's no
Right.
prize for not taking the time that we need. And so when I need that time, I take it. Or it looks like, okay, realistically, I can't just leave everything at work, but maybe I come home and I give myself an hour and then that's it. I'm not working till 10, 11 o'clock at night. I give myself, maybe I get home at 4:30, 5 o'clock. I let myself work a little bit till 6. And then after dinner, I spend time with my family. So setting those boundaries. Maybe it's I can't work this extra event. I can't work this event, or I can't interpret at this thing outside of work hours because I already have something planned. It's okay to say no. It's okay to prioritize yourself. And so I just want to encourage you guys with that today.
Thank you for that, Lauren. All right. So sometimes it is hard to focus on self-care. What barriers or obstacles do you face when trying to implement self-care practices? And it's going to give everyone like 2 minutes, and I really want you to think about that question. Sometimes it is hard to focus on self-care. What barriers or obstacles do you face when trying to implement self-care practices? You can write this in your own notes for yourself, or you can feel free to put it in the chat and share with others.
Lack of time, time and energy, time, lack of energy, workspace. Yeah, absolutely. Time and energy seems to be a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Workload. Many years ago for me, it felt selfish. That was a mental barrier. Adding
Mm-hmm.
self-care time feels like an added task. Ooh, that's a good one. Honestly, sometimes I feel guilty about taking time for myself. Who else will do the thing if I'm not there to do the thing? That's a
Yeah,
good, yes.
that
Guilt. I
that
feel like I should be doing something productive instead. Awkward long work days, especially for freelancers, can make for days in which it's just not possible to find time to do basic self-care like physical exercise or getting enough sleep. Mom guilt. These are really good ones. Exhaustion
yeah,
leads to lack of executive function. Need to set new habits, trying to do what's best for everyone.
yeah.
I used to be able to wake
Guys,
up. Go ahead.
yeah, no, I was just gonna say you guys sound like we're all in the same circle, which is awesome. It's like we're guardians, right? We're the people that take care of everyone. You're in this job because you want to support. And so guardians sometimes they guardian everyone, but who's guarding you, right? And so you have to understand that you do have to take a moment in the day to say, let me guardian myself. because you're on the front line, right? Which is a wonderful thing if you chose to do this work. But at the same time, you do have to take care of yourself because sometimes you have to hear things that may be difficult, things that you may have gone through, things that you may have heard that you've never heard before. And so it's that space that you have to give yourself each day. And we're going to get into that in these next couple of slides to help you with that.
Absolutely. Um, And sometimes, just to reframe it, right? Sometimes we have to kind of reframe the way in which we think about things. Sometimes it's almost selfish to not take the time we need and to not indulge in self-care because if I'm not doing these things, then I'm not able to give the best in my work. I'm not able to give the best in my home. And so my family and the people I serve begin to suffer because I'm not taking care of myself because I can't pour from a cup that is empty, right? Um, Another quote that I like to say a lot when we're doing this presentation is we plug our phones in every day, sometimes multiple times a day to recharge it, get it back to full battery. And I just want to encourage you to not show more respect to your cell phone than you do yourself. We have to recharge, we have to plug ourselves in every day, sometimes multiple times a day, in order to have all the power that we need to do the tasks that we need to do. And so we'll talk a little bit about a self-care action plan um, in a minute. But one thing that I also kind of want to say is self-care, oftentimes we kind of have this picture or this image in our head that self-care means I have to go spend money, I have to go get my nails done, I have to go get my hair done, I have to go have, a big fancy dinner, which are all great, beautiful, wonderful things. I'm a woman, I like my hair done, I like my nails done, but sometimes it's not applicable. It's not realistic. We can't do it all the time. And so, while that's wonderful, big self-care incentives, right? We want to find the little things. And sometimes people don't realize some of the things that they might already be doing that is self-care. Self-care might look like, you know what? Tonight I'm going to take a 20, 30-minute hot shower, hot bath, relax, just turn off my mind for a minute, maybe play my favorite music in the background. Self-care may look like Keisha said, I'm gonna go to the store and buy some pretty flowers, and that way I have something beautiful to look at this week. Self-care might look like I'm just gonna go sit outside. I work from home personally, and so I like to sometimes just go sit outside for an hour, maybe do a task outside today. It might look like, taking a walk. Maybe I just need to take a walk around the corner. So self-care does not have to be these big, extravagant, maybe unrealistic, maybe they take a little bit too much time, maybe financially we can't afford these things. Self-care can look like the small little things that we incorporate in our day. Just like we will schedule to see clients or see families or be in meetings or we're scheduling when we're going to do our translating and our interpreting, we have to put self-care in like a must-do task in our routine and our schedule. Self-care might look like I'm going to make sure that I eat a nice breakfast every morning. I'm going to make sure that if nothing else, I eat dinner with my family every night. Those types of things are self-care as well. So I'm interested to hear if you guys can share what does self-care look like to you? What are some, or if you don't already incorporate these things, what are some now hearing some ideas of some maybe small routine things we can add to our day? What might that look like for you? And while it's on my mind, self-care can also look like this. So I know there's a lot going on right now in the world. So self-care might look like I take a break from social media. Maybe it looks like I turn my phone off for a little bit. Maybe it looks like I don't engage in certain conversations, right? And so sometimes that's self-care too, just turning off our phones and being present with the people around us that we love, especially when we're getting negative things coming through those devices. Um, Somebody said going to the gym, absolutely. Taking time to read or cross stitch, petting my dog for a long time, and just doing that. Absolutely. My dog had to get locked up mid this session because he was trying to attend the session, y'all. Chit chatting with my husband while drinking coffee, walking my dog. Aren't animals so healing sometimes? Someone said I take a day without watching CNN or Fox. Yeah, maybe I just need to turn the TV off, right? Maybe I just need to be present physically with the environment that I'm in. Going swim and turning off my cell phone during the weekend. Absolutely. Sleeping well, going for walks, going into nature. One thing I will say, especially if you are someone who struggles with sleeping issues as a result of burnout, more specifically insomnia than oversleeping, turning your phone off for like an hour, hour and a half before bed. The blue light just does something to your brain that kind of keeps you awake. And so turning it off early can help with that sleep. But also, if I'm intaking the most devastating news I've ever seen in my life right before I'm trying to go to sleep, the likelihood is my mind is not going to be able to turn off and rest, right? Because now I'm processing what I just looked at or what I just heard or the information. And so it's important to find a time to just shut the phone off, maybe an hour, hour and a half before bed. Do your nighttime routine, whatever that looks like for you. I have a chair in my home which is dedicated to disconnecting. Oh, I love that. No phone, no computer, no internet, only reading physical books and keeping everything on silent. Getting out for physical exercise too, taking a walk. These are really great things. Hugs from my son cures everything. Self-care, right? Having a page where I dump the bad stuff, skincare. These are awesome, 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 awesome self-care strategies. Again, self-care does not have to be the big things. It's the little small things that keep us going, right? So I'm going to ask you guys to create a self-care action plan because when we're in the middle of the crisis, it's hard for us to access those skills, right? When we're in the middle of the burnout, it's hard for us to find our way out. When we're in the middle of the fire, we can't see outside of the smoke. And so we need a plan that helps us to see outside of the smoke when we're struggling to do that. And so you can scan the QR code here to grab your self-care action plan. You'll put your signs of burnout, like what are you noticing in yourself? Boundaries that you can maybe set, current things that you do that help. So that's all those wonderful things that you listed. People that you can reach out to for support. So who are my support people? And some goals, some realistic goals that I can set in the next 30 days. Remember, we want to be realistic because we don't want to discourage ourselves if we can't accomplish those things. So I'll also drop this in the chat in just a moment, but it's kind of like your little homework. I encourage you guys to take some time this afternoon to really think through this for yourselves. Sorry, Keisha, you can go ahead.
No, I understand. This is your wheelhouse. So, with our next call to action, it kind of goes hand in hand in tandem with it. So, you're going to choose one action to commit to this month. You don't have to do everything, just one small change to help you better manage your mental well-being. And I'm going to let you read that on your own. So, you have the area of professional growth, preparing resources, workload management, self-care, and reflection and support. Think about that from the perspective of what Lauren just shared with you from the action plan that you can develop for yourself, and then one thing that you know you will commit to this month. And take a little time to do that. And I'm pretty sure this PowerPoint will be shared. So,
The recording, yes.
yes. Thank you. If it's too soon. I know some of us are at work.
Alrighty.
So we are wrapping up, and we hope that the information that you were given today was very, very helpful for you. We are the Louisiana Statewide Family Engagement Center, and we do have wonderful resources on our website. So if you can scan that and lock us in, you will have our wonderful website that gives you free resources to support the work that you do, as well as the families that you serve.
And all of our resources that are family facing are already translated into 5 languages. They're the languages that we see most here in Louisiana that are applicable to our state. So we have all of our family facing resources are in Spanish, Arabic, Urdu, Chinese, and Vietnamese already. And the entire website can be translated to those languages as well. So um, those are things that you can utilize for your families as already pre-translated materials. If there's anything that you think could be helpful that you don't see, shoot us an email. All of our emails are on there. We will make those resources. If there's a need, we will provide. And so please use this as a resource for both yourself and the families that you serve. I don't know where that came from.
And then last but not least, this is how we are able to get feedback on the work that we provide to the
Uh-oh.
community. Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, I accidentally
Yeah.
clicked it.
Yes. Okay. So if you can fill out our wonderful survey to let us know how you felt about this webinar, it's greatly appreciated. We do take this feedback very seriously because it helps us to become better in all the work that we do. And also, all of our resources that we provide are free. So this helps us to keep our funding going and whatnot. So this is something that we always make sure that we do to support the work. And we are a part of a large organization that has a plethora of programs and trainings that we provide through our Center for Literacy and Learning. So you can take those in. I love that someone is giving the clap. Love the reactions. We appreciate them. And you can take a picture of this as well. Keep in mind that this will also be sent to you, but this is our website for the Center for Literacy and Learning and also Louisiana Statewide Family Engagement. Thank you for your participation and taking time out of your wonderful Wednesday to be with us.
And I'm going to go back to the survey just so that it's on the screen for you guys, but we're going to open the floor to any questions that you may have. Um, the link for the self-care action plan should be in the chat. That's kind of why I got off. I was making sure it was the right link. Let me see. So this link that you guys got in the chat today, just now was the link for it talks about like what burnout is and how you can manage burnout. Um, so it kind of gives some of those tips that we gave today, what it looks like, some crisis hotlines in case you need those things. So that's one of the links that was shared, but I also want to share with you guys the other one, the self-care action plan as well. So let me grab that for you. Let me see. Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to share this with you as well. So self-care action plan that we discussed today. And then I'm going to put the survey link back up just in case you haven't had a chance to scan that. We are a grant funded program. And so the data that we get from this survey is super important to keep the work going, as well as just to provide us feedback so we can ensure that we're providing quality presentations that really meet the needs of those that we are trying to serve. So we really appreciate that. If you have any questions, unmute yourself, feel free, drop it in the chat. Um, yeah, we'll hang around for a few minutes for those. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much. This was just amazing. I was taking notes for my own sake to keep saying because all of us are going through many different things, and we just one thing I did want to say is just thank you to all of you, of course, our guest speakers, but all of you for taking the time to be here today. Because number one, this is a a sign that you're needing this information. Like Karina was saying, I needed to hear this today, but also that you want to find the resources to support you. And it's not easy to take the time away from everything that's going on and being pulled in many different directions to attend something like this. So we really appreciate you doing that. As I put on the chat, we're going to share the recording. We're going to send you a survey for our own purposes so that we can continue offering professional development that is, relevant to you and the work that you do, but also some, additional resources that we have available.